Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa, joined by Ryan. How are you, mate?
Very well, my friend. Very well.
We've got a bit of a special episode today. Me and you are going to go through every single Unai Emery transfer since he's been here. We're going to grade them from A star to F. We're going to get stuck into it right now. If you are new to the channel, make sure you are subscribing. You can play along at home. And make sure you are smashing the likes if you are enjoying the content. You're up first, Ryan, and you've got Kosta Nedeljkovic. Now, they're in an order, but it doesn't really matter what order they're in. But we've got Nedeljkovic. So where are you putting Nedeljkovic?
Okay, so we're going from an A star to a F rating. Now, with Nedeljkovic, what are we rating him, Luke? We're rating potential, really, aren't we? What we've seen of him. So pre-season, I was very, very impressed with him. I was impressed with him when he come on against Arsenal. He done well in the cup game against Wickham as well. Did I think I'd see a little bit more of him? Potentially, yeah, with cash out. But Bogard stepped up and Emery went for Bogard. But as for a ceiling of potential, I think it's high. I like his physicality. I like his body shape. He's rapid. His way to pass is good as well. His recovery pace is excellent. So I'm excited. I'm excited for his future. He's been exposed to a high level of football already. We've seen his performance against Manchester City last season in the Champions League. He marched Williams out the Spanish game when he played for Serbia and made his full debut. So, where can we put him? I'm looking at that I don't know, a B, a C. A is top level sign, is he? And he's not that level yet, but he's potentially very good. So probably just have to say middle of the park then in that neutrally C zone, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think with some of these, we're basing them on impact straight away, big caliber signing, hit the ground running, straight into Champions League football, do the job for Villa. Some of them are growers, but some have got a really high ceiling, so you can rate them quite high. So I think that's the general gist and vibe of where we are. I'd 100% agree with you. I think I'd like to see him with more minutes, but if Emery feels that he's not quite ready and he needs to be in that study room, he needs to be watching, learning, picking up the pace, then I'm more than happy to see him develop at Aston Villa. Next up for me is Lino Sousa, right? Probably the most difficult one to read into. Might be the shortest one that we talk about. He's coming to Villa. He's been loaned out twice now. So we're really yet to see anything from him. We didn't see him in pre-season. He's a left-back that joined from Arsenal. And we know that when he signed for Villa, we'd already got Luke Dean Moreno. Moreno's gone on loan. We've then got Maatsen. So, he's technically quite a long way from getting minutes at Aston Villa. He's one that can potentially be developing. But I'll caveat that with a couple of these players that I think they are going to be involved in moneyballing, moving around, getting a fee. We're playing the system. We're sending them out on loan. Values increasing. If they don't get to a level that's required at Villa, then they'll be moved on for a lot of profit. And personally, deep down right now, I feel like Sousa is going to be one of those that probably doesn't feature for Villa and he gets moved on. So I would put him, for that reason, I'd put him probably in at D. Do you agree with what I said there, or do you think it's a little bit different?
No, completely agree with what you said. The ranking, I'll probably go one less. I think I'll probably go one less, but yeah. But like you say, potential. We don't know. We don't know yet, do we? So let's leave him there for now.
he may go higher in turn if we ever look back on this and we go, right, you got that completely wrong. But I think for the age profile of Maatsen, who is very young in itself, that stems me to be the future in that position. So
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see with that one. Another tricky one then. You've got this one, Ryan. Dobbin.
The more I think about Dobbin, the more I think about PSR and the Irabunan deal. It was, I'll scratch your back, you scratch our back, and it was a swap like that. And he, as soon as he was in, he was back out, wasn't he? He's at West Brom. Not really seen much of him at West Brom. Not really heard how he's doing. Not really seen that he's starting or making an impact. Normally, when loan signings go away, you normally, there's a noise about them, especially on social media. You see Louis Barry scoring goals week in, week out. I've not really heard anything about Dobbin, and I've not really been bothered to look into it either. So for me, it still reeks of a PSR deal. So I'd say E.
Okay.
Is that harsh? Is that harsh? I just don't. I can't see a future for him at the minute, Luke. I don't think he's ever get to our level.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I did benchmark of a D. So do I need to downgrade to an E then? We've got to get the benchmark of PSR somewhere. So
yeah.
I think it should be D, to be fair, because I think even though it might not work out for Villa, financially it'll work out for Villa, which in turn will mean we got more money to spend.
Yes.
So it is a positive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting E and F as big negatives, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
So should we go D?
Yes.
Okay. So Dobbin in D. Right. Moreno up now. And I think this was a really good signing, a savvy signing. And it really allowed us to develop the Emery system quicker, I think. Having that sort of progressive attacking left back in our style, which we like. And I think he is a testament to getting Champions League football, because when we got into the Conference League, he played well to get us in there, which was probably his best form. Last year, it was sort of like plagued by injuries, but, you know, he still helped. And I think what he did do is he allowed the emergence of Lucas Digne, because Lucas Digne has absolutely flourished at Villa. And we'll come on to Maatsen in a bit, whoever gets Maatsen. And we went out and signed a left back for big money. And currently that left back can't get in the team. So Lucas Digne, the way he's developed and grown, I think it was because Moreno was pushing him. Because remember at the time when we first got Moreno, it was always sort of they'd both play. One would start, one would come on, and whatever we needed, if it was more attacking, we'd get Moreno. If we needed more defensive, it would be Digne. And I think for the money to get us on that rise, because when we signed him in the January, you know, we were still languishing around mid-table, and we've shot up that table. I think he was a very, very good signing. And yeah, we've probably moved on from that caliber of player, but he was a great signing for us. So I would go as high as a B, because I think for what he did to us, enabled us to kind of be where we are now.
Yeah, 100%. He was transformative system-wise for Aston Villa. He enabled Emery to play his way. Like we looked into how Emery plays at Villarreal, for example, and we've seen his shape and everything. It weren't quite shaping up at Villa Park, but Moreno coming in totally transformed that. His link up with Ramsey was explosive down that left-hand side. And like you say, it pushed us to Conference League. You know, before Emery come in, McGinn was covering left back, or Ramsey was covering left back in that system. So to completely change system and have this new philosophy and style, and that left-hand side was really potent. So yeah, 100% agree with that B rating. And and just to echo your thoughts on Lucas Digne as well. Yeah, 100%. And he's thrived off the competition that Moreno and now Maatsen is producing. So yeah, big signing. And yeah, one of the good guys, and he's settling in all right at Forest, and Forest are having a good season as well. So yeah, excellent for the money.
The next two then are, I think these are the two big hitters here where we're going to chat a bit about. So you've got Zaniolo, right?
Yeah.
Where are you going with Zaniolo?
You know what, mate? I had a soft spot for Zaniolo.
Mate, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I liked him. I liked his character. I liked the way he carried himself. He's proper cool dude. Loan signing after Emi Buendia went down injured. So we had to get a profile that fitted the club. And Zaniolo come in last minute. Obviously, he had the betting scandal sort of thing weighing him down at the start of the season. Once that cleared, he got rid of a couple of niggling injuries. He contributed, Luke. He contributed. He scored some big goals, notably the one against Watford and the one at West Ham away. They're big last-minute goals, and without them last-minute goals, we won't be playing Bayern Munich and Young Boys and Celtic and whoever else we're playing in the Champions League, because that was a massive contribution. So would he improve this season if we would have bought him and he weren't a loan signing? Yes, I think he would have. Another season under Emery. I think he'd have got better, but it didn't quite work out for this season. But yeah, certainly fond memories of Zaniolo. So got to give him a C just for them last minute goals. I mean,
yeah, I'd fully agree, and I think sometimes, especially with a loan signing, the goals he did contribute, I think it was Sheffield United. He got that headed,
not
didn't
Watford.
he?
Sorry, yeah, Sheffield United.
He got West Ham. I think he got on the end of one at West Ham, and those points were massive to securing Champions League football. So he played a key part in getting there, albeit he only did it sort of like in 2 games technically. But I really liked him. I liked his swagger. I liked that he looked like he tried hard. It was really sort of like he'd try his best. Sometimes it wouldn't come off. And, I used to work in Tony and Guy's. His hair was class, man. His hair, I've kind of got a bit going on myself, little parting, he got cool hair, man. His tattoos and the way he dressed outside of football. Very, very cool.
Arsenal away was another good performance. When Emery was pinging, Martinez was pinging them diagonal balls to him, and he showed his physicality then to hold the ball up and stuff like that. So we was seeing parts of his game that was very, very useful. But in the end, some transfers don't materialise today. And for what it was, for that loan signing for 1 year, it was very productive in the end.
Yeah, just thinking about while we're doing this, what we don't want is a lot of these players down the bottom, because that shows that our transfers aren't that great. So we want them near the top, right? I got Diaby now, and everybody knows how highly I thought of Diaby, and especially going into this season. He got hammered a lot. He got a lot of stick, but his numbers were good. Goals, assists, his numbers were very good last season. But the manner in which he's left after a year, spending 40-something million for 1 year, I'm sorry, for me, it's terrible. Because I just don't think you ever want to spend a lot of money, commit to a player for 1 year, they go. We know it's like UEFA financial fair play, and we've got PSR and stuff. So there's lots of different factors within why he left. He's gone to Saudi, etc. But I just feel like you can't have a player signing for big money and going after 1 season. I mean, how do you feel about it? Do you think it doesn't matter, or where are you at with that one?
I think the emergence of Morgan Rogers maybe swayed the decision to put him back out on the market. Like you say, his numbers stacked up. His numbers were good. Again, do I think he would have improved this season under Emery again? Yes, I do. I think he'd contribute more. But what he was doing last season, Morgan Rogers has picked up and gone with it. And physically, the ball carrying that Morgan Rogers is producing is a better level than Diaby. I thought at times he was quite lightweight in that position centrally. Don't forget he come in as a winger, didn't he? And we tried to move him into the middle, and he did get brushed off the ball quite a lot, but then he did contribute quite a lot. So when the opportunity come to sell him on, and we're not losing any money, think of all the signings we've made in the past, look, big signings, big money signings, and then it doesn't work out. A year later, he's sitting on the bench, and then 2 years later, we've lost half the transfer fee. So we took that opportunity to make a little bit of money, not much, but it was off the books. His wages were off the books, and it all suited for the UEFA ruling as well. So, and he contributed, Luke. He contributed to us getting the Champions League. But yeah, I sort of agree with your reasoning for that.
I'm kind of like as well, like as a fan, you know, we are fans, and we look at this from fans' perspective in a way. Champions League football, and he's not here for it as well. It is a bit weird, man. I find it a bit. I find it a bit random. But do you think he should be E then or F?
Leave him where he is, mate. Leave him. He's gone now, isn't he? He's gone, isn't he?
Okay. Right. So next up, we have got Ross Barkley. You're on Ross Barkley.
Right. Second round of Ross Barkley, and I'm seeing a completely different Ross Barkley to the Ross Barkley we witnessed the first time round, which started off very brightly. His link up with Grealish, Watkins. It was a fast start, wasn't it? A great start, and a couple of injuries, rumours that he got COVID, and it set him back, and he never really recovered. Did he? Past November time of that loan season, and he went to Lille in France, didn't he? And it looked like his career was just going to slide away, and then resurrected at Luton. An absolutely brilliant season, and he's come here feels very humble, and he's slotted into the group, and I don't feel like there's that big time Charlie tag about him anymore. I feel like it feels like there's an awareness that this is a massive opportunity. It's a big club. You've got Champions League football, and he's here to take it, and he's here to contribute and be part of this group and buy into the Emery way. I feel like he's very, very mature now. So, what did we buy him for? Was it 5-6 mil? 5 mil. So that really is peanuts, isn't it? That's peanuts. That's like a tip at a bar after you've brought a pint. Yeah. So for that you can't lose, and I feel like he's going to grow. I feel like he's still adapting to the Emery way, a bit like Tielemans last season, where it took him time to grow and to be aware of his positional space and what's required of him and where he's got to be in certain phases and trigger points and stuff like that. There's a lot to take in, and I feel like he's getting on board, and the cameos we've seen off the bench, very good, and he done all right against United as well. So at the minute, I'd say B. Is that a bit too high?
B. No, I'd fully agree. I fully agree with B. I think, like you say, I think he's growing into being at Villa again. And there's a maturity about him, which is great, and which it's what you want. So I think so far so good with Barkley, and he's only played around 10 games played this season. So yeah, I think B's great. Right, next up, Yuri Tielemans for a free. Yes, we have signing on fees, we have wages. And the way in which he has developed at Villa, remember, first game, Newcastle, came out the team, needed to learn Emery's way. And this is a player that's won the FA Cup. He's a seasoned international. He's still having to learn Emery's way, a little bit like what Barkley's had to do. And he was playing in that sort of left side. He was playing off the striker at times, doing really well. We've sold Douglas Luiz, and you're thinking, what, we're going to miss him now. But Yuri Tielemans this season has been absolutely exceptional. And I would say he's played that role probably better than Luiz. I think he's probably not got the goals because he's not on penalties. But the actual understanding and the way in which he's taking on games and he's at the forefront of everything that we do. Whenever we do a debrief, passing networks, it's all into Tielemans. He's the dictator now. And he's just blossomed into this player now that's just exceptional. He's bossing games no matter who he's playing against. You know, even against Bayern Munich, he was finding space. He's got that little drag back that he does now, and he's selling players. He sold Kimmich an absolute treat against Bayern Munich as well. So I think he's brilliant, and I think for the money, I don't think you can get a pound for pound better signing than that. So for me, that's our first A-star straight away.
Fully agree with you, mate. When he first joined up, I was a bit concerned about his mobility. There's a lot of rumours, his legs might have gone and stuff like that, and then he weren't playing. But my God, he's some player. His game intelligence is probably the best in the squad. His reading of the game, his creativity, and you talk about stats. He's topping them all: progressive passes into the final third, his shot creation, goal creation. He's topping everything: touches, ball recoveries. He's like a complete midfielder at the minute. And like you say, Luiz going, was he going to leave a big hole? Set pieces, penalties, corners. Tielemans is all over it, and he's all over it, and he looks fresh. He looks fresh, doesn't he? I fully agree with that A-star rating.
There's two players in our squad that I think have got excellent footballing IQ, and that is Yuri Tielemans and Pau Torres. I think they have got exactly the same outlook on vision and how they want to play. Honestly, I think they really complement each other. So you've got Pau in a bit, so you can touch on Pau. But first up, you've got Lenglet. So where are you putting Lenglet?
Again, big respect for Lenglet. Tyrone Mings goes down injured on the first game of the season. And again, we've got to scramble around the low market and find a player that suits our profile. And Lenglet did. He's, you don't play for Barcelona for no reason, do you? You don't get signed by Barca without having certain attributes and skills. And his passing ability was when Torres was out and Lenglet was in, the drop-off weren't that much, was it? Sometimes when other players go in and they try and do the same role, there's a drop-off. But Lenglet, yes, not as line-breaking or precise as Pau, but there was still that ability to play the way we wanted to play with a change of player. So for me, Lenglet, he played a lot of minutes, didn't he? Because in the January, there was rumours that he wanted to leave. And then that's when Pau got injured and we was like, no, we can't let him leave. And then he started to get the minutes. He played a lot of conference football for us as well. So big squad player last season. Happy with his contribution. And again, a little soft spot with him and Zaniolo. I thought that lone duo done a good job for us. So probably a B might be too generous. I'd say a C. Stick him in as a C.
No, I think that's really fair. I think again he was integral when Pau was out. So, big player, and we've got Mings coming back. But I think I'd probably, if someone said you could have signed him again on loan, I think I'd have said most definitely. So, yeah, really good player. Right, Gauci's up next. Yet to see much of him. We've seen him in the cups. I think he looks pretty assured. I think his kicking's not bad. I think that's probably getting better and better. Yet to really see him be tested too much, but I think when Olsen's in goal, the goal's flying. Doesn't matter whether it's cup or whatever, they always flying past him. So I feel okay. I think he probably is second choice now. I think he's looks pretty strong. So I'd like to see a bit more of him. But I think I can't really say too much else on him. Have you got much to say? Would you say put him in C or D?
Yeah, probably like D maybe. Emerging. I feel like he's a goalkeeper that will mould him. He's a project. You noticed on the Wickham game, wasn't it, in the cup, how he's playing with his feet, knocking the ball around the back. I feel like he is a project and showing good signs from what we've seen so far.
Yeah. Right. I think this might be one of the big ones. You've got Pau. So do you rate him? Is he any good? Has he done all right?
He's all right, anyhow, number 14. He's all right. Tell you what, Luke, take him off the bottom there, stick him next to Tielemans. Stick him next to Yuri Tielemans, because this is an excellent buy. What did we pay? About 30 mil, 35 mil for him? Like, bargain. Absolute bargain. And then when Emery got announced, Pau Torres was the one we looked at in their squad as the one. That's who we got to get in it. That's it. You know, when managers move, you sort of like, who are they going to bring with them? And Pau was the absolute standout. He is a key player for us. His elegance on that football is just a joy to watch. It is a joy. His progressive mindset, the way the precision of the balls that he plays through the lines, his unflustered ability to carry the ball out defence, he's press resistant. He's got it all as a ball playing centre half. You couldn't ask for a better left-footed, left-sided defender. Oh mate, he's been absolutely brilliant. He's ball carrying, he's press baiting. Oh, everything about him has just been top class. And you know, look at the ball that he played for Duran the other night against Bayern. There's not many centre halves in the world that spot that ball and deliver it as precisely as him. Duran had to do nothing. He just had to follow that weight of pass and that flight of pass and put his foot up, put his foot on it. That's what, you know, and we've seen that time and time again. How many times have we seen him create goals, Luke? Like, yeah, he might not be like the assist the other night against Bayern, but it's that movement to bring the ball out and then, you know what, I'll go past the defender and then it all opens up and I'll play that ball in and then we're off. And the attacks, you know, there was goal, I think it was against Fulham when he come back last season, Fulham away, and like his ability just to do that, just to step out and beat a man and lay it off, and the diagonal balls, everything about him is just top class.
Top class, but he's so underrated.
Oh, I know.
He's so underrated. It's unbelievable, which is just mind-boggling. You know, when I go on sort of like opposition channels and they say, who do we need to watch out for? First player I'll say is Pau Torres. And they're like, really? I thought you were going to say like Watkins or whatever. And I'm like, no, he's absolutely crucial to the way that we play. And I think... love it. And you know, I look at like little weird things. A lot of people know that I watch weird things within football. And I've watched the Champions League anthem video quite a lot of times because I just think it's amazing. But there's one player that's doing something totally different to everybody else. Everybody else is just like zoned in. Pau bouncing up on his feet, getting ready. Like, I just think it's so different to everybody else. And it just shows the caliber of what he's played in before. That this is like, for probably a lot of players, it was like an emotional thing. But for Pau, it was game time at the highest level. And I read into that so much. So, yeah, A star for Pau. Would I say he's our best signing we've made out of the lot? I think he probably is for me out the whole lot, even some of the ones that are to come, because he's amazing. Right, up next, Morgan Rogers, who there's that clip that's on social media that them two lads on a channel saying like, what have they seen? Like we've had him here, and like he's just developed and grown. And again, whenever I talk to people about Villa, when I was on the overlap with Scholes. And he was talking about Onana, and he was like, I'm really not sure on Onana. And I was like, well, the thing is with these players, Unai develops these players, and they're growing to something that they currently aren't and what they're doing at the minute. And his journey's been brilliant, and I think it's massively down to Emery, but I think it's massively down to Rodgers as well, to have that mentality and to want to be better, to want to keep growing and get better and better. And I think for the money, well, he's probably already a £30 million player already. So, and the numbers aren't there quite yet. So I think we've shown what he can do. There's been massive glimpses of brilliance, but I do think there's still a lot to work on. I think sometimes he needs to release the ball a bit quicker. I think he gets stuck in between sort of like the ball carrying and then sometimes knowing when to release it. I think if you ever watch like the elite players, they release the ball at the right time. The weight of pass is always perfect. His finishing, I think, sometimes could be a bit cleaner and I think a bit more composed. But he's one where I don't want to just go A-star. He's amazing. I want to be able to, when I watch him, to be able to critique and know that he can get better. Because how I feel about Rodgers is he could be anything that he wants to be. He could be one of... Oh, what's going on here? He could be one of the best players in the league. And I think that's just like a testament to the player and how good he can be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put him in A because I think there's growth there. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, 100%. This is nowhere near the finished article what we think he's going to be. He had a big pre-season, didn't he? He's moved centrally. There was a lot of working on it and how he collects the ball and turns and drives. That was drilled in all through pre-season. From the first game, Walsall at the best got. We're seeing his body shape, how he collects the ball and turns the defender, and he's brought all that form that he produced in pre-season, and he's just like gone off like a steam train at the start of this season. Like him and Duran, the emergence of them two this season has been one of the highlights so far. And like his numbers for goals and assists aren't quite there yet, but his goal creating actions and his shot creating actions, right? And what I mean when I say that is he's like the assister to the assist. Mm-hmm. So he assists the person that assists the goal.
So okay, so I've got something to tell you actually. So I've got this thing in my head, right? And it's called a pre-assist, right?
Yeah.
Now, a pre-assist is the ball that goes before the player that assists it. Because what I think in my head is there was a goal that we scored for the under-21s on Saturday. And Kamara played this beautiful ball and it's sort of like he dinked it, chipped it and curved it round a corner for a Villa player to just roll it across the box for Bragio to score. Mm-hmm. Now, that ball that's gone across the box is it's easy for a footballer to play, but the ball that made it was the one before the assist.
Yeah.
So I'm big on pre-assist.
Yeah. So when I say shot creating action and goal creating action, that is that metric, Luke. That's the metric. So Morgan Rodgers has got 3 of both, and that's the top. I think he's joint top with Tielemans on goal creating, and he's top for shot creating. So when that final person has a shot, that's where he's getting that stat from. And then if somebody scores and he's the pre-assister, like you say, that is where he's getting that stat from. So when you want to know that, that is the metric for it. And a real good example of that one was the season Grealish and Matt Targett played on the left wing for us. And Grealish would do all the dribbling, the hard work, lay it off the target, who'd slip it across, and he gets the assist. And Grealish is like, what? When I went back and looked at them stats, Grealish's goal creating actions and shot creating actions were sky high, and that's the metric for it. So so for Rodgers, even though he hasn't got the goal and the assist, what he's doing before and the chaos he's causing before is creating the openings. So I agree with the A because there is plenty of room for him to grow up.
Definitely. So you've got a big one there. You've got Onana. So where do we go with Onana?
I have been impressed with Onana. I think when we signed him, we knew his strengths. He hasn't disappointed with those strengths. aerial ability has helped immensely. It was a weakness of ours. His ability to eat up space on transition, both in attack and defence, has been a real highlight. But like you say, with Morgan Rogers, I feel like there's plenty more growth. There's a few things. His positional awareness. He got caught out a bit for the Ipswich goal, the second one, the equaliser there, where he sort of committed to go forward, and you can see Emery saying, no, go back. And then we got caught on transition. It's just too much space, even for Onana to make up. So I feel like that's something he can work on. And I think Emery has got plans to create this all-round midfielder, the complete midfielder. And Onana's got everything to do that. I feel that he still needs to become press resistant. I feel like when he gets that ball, I still feel like he needs to be able to turn a defender, hold off a defender, be able to build from the back. That's got to be worked on. But all the signs are there is that he can do it. And he will. Over time, he will. He's been thrown straight into the team, hasn't he? He hasn't had this period of adaptation that Tielemans had last summer. With Kamara's injuries back in now, my God, you're going to couple him up with Kamara as well when he's back, and you've got Tielemans and Barkley in there. That midfield quadruple there is looking very, very strong, and I feel there's parts of Kamara's game which Onana's going to learn from. And I think them two working together as well, just going to bring the best out of each other. We want, we talked about the competition Luca Dean's facing with Maatsen and Moreno. Hopefully, like Kamara's competition with Onana and stuff like that is going to bring the best out of them all. So, I've got to write him in now. Aye, stick him next to Rodgers.
Okay, yeah, I'm fully with you, and I think the difference between Onana and a lot of the new signings is Onana's in there learning on the job, and Onana's in there learning while the games are going. Whereas you can look at sort of like Barkley, Tielemans when he came, probably Maatsen, a little bit of Rodgers. He weren't straight in, was he? That he's literally thrusted in, and it's not easy playing for Emery. Playing for Emery isn't like, oh, you go from Everton and you go straight to Villa. Just do what you do at Everton. Like I was listening to an interview that Dyche did on Irabunum, and Irabunum was saying that, oh, he's not really gone too much technical with me. He just wants me to like go and play. And I'm like, what? Like that's totally different to Emery. Like Emery would never be like, just go and do what you normally do and play your natural game. Like, yeah, it's completely different. And I think that's the difference between Onana and that type of signing that he's in there. But yeah, I fully with you. I think there's so much more there to unlock. Like, I don't even think he's playing in the right position at the minute. I think when Kamara comes back, I think he may move somewhere else. And some might say, well, what happens to Tielemans? But, we know what happens with squad rotation, and we've already seen how many injuries we've got. So I think everyone will be in and out of this team. I don't think it's sort of like you're the first choice, you play every game, and that is it. I think come the end of the season, it'll probably look something totally different. So
he's so unique as well, and there's no one else really like him. And for 50 million, Luke, I feel like there's loads of profit in that, really, if the time comes to sell him a few years down the line.
Yeah, and I think it's his height, but we saw against Young Boys that he got on the end of something and he had a strike and he scored. So that's again something that I want to see as well. I want to see him like running through the lines. I want to see him being a powerhouse, sort of like driving through teams with the ball, because I think he can do that. So that's where I say I think he can play in a different position, because that's what I think he can do. Right, I got Jhon Duran. So anyone that's not watched mine and Tim Vickery's episode, I'll tag it on the end of this one. Really good insight onto Jhon Duran and where he came from, his lifestyle, Colombia, etc. A bit on Martinez in there as well. Right, where do we go with this one? Right, I can easily be blinded by the banger against Everton, the goal against Bayern Munich. I mean, if you'd have said I'd be saying this about 2 months ago, I'd be like, you're absolutely off your rocker. But he's developing into a brilliant striker at the age of 20, fully on board now with Emery and the club, and even some of his little messages he puts to the fans now. You sense that there's a different personality that's come through now, and it's really clicked. You know, this kid's potential is absolutely ridiculous. Like we could be talking here, and this is me not saying nothing out of the ordinary. He could be one of the best strikers in the world, and he's 20. That's how highly I could say that he could get to. There's a lot of hard work that's got to go into this. You know, there's a lot of patience still. But I think he could possibly get there because we've seen his finishing is absolutely unbelievable. Bit like Rodgers and Onana, there's a lot of work to do. I think off the ball, you know, there's this conversation that gets put about, like, can the two play together? I'm currently not sure on this, and I'll get your thoughts on it in a second. Deep down, the more I think about this, is that I just don't think Watkins and Duran complement each other. You know, when you look at strikers and you think they've got to complement it, you can't just say you'll play two of them together and that's it. They'll just play well. There's got to be that complement there. And I think when I look at Watkins and Rodgers, they complement each other well, because they've just got different traits that seem to work. There's a partnership, there's a link up. And I just don't think Watkins and Duran will ever have that link up and partnership. I think Rodgers and Duran could have it, but I'm just not sure on the both. So I'll give my score, and I'm going to put him in there as a B, because I think there's a lot to work on. But what are your thoughts on that? Because I know we get a lot of questions on playing two together, and Emery said they can play together, but I'm not sure. What do you think?
I'm also not sure, Luke. I'm also not sure. Was it United? It was second half of United, wasn't it? They both went up top together. I feel like it takes away other parts of our game and other parts of our build-up, and we lose that potency in the build-up and just behind the front line. Emery's working on it. You know, he thinks he can make it happen, and we've obviously got to back that process. I don't think it's like an overnight process. So, yeah, no. This could be like February, March, April. You know, the back end of the season maybe if he feels like he can do it. But he's certainly.
Do you think? Sorry to put him, but do you think it's because both of their natural instincts are to score, right? Rodgers' natural instinct isn't necessarily to score. He's got, I can dribble, I can play make, I can assist. He's got that different mindset where both of them want to score. And I think that's the difficult part to it as well. Sort of like helping each other out in a way. So if, say, Watkins presses to the left, Duran thinks, I've got to back him up here. I've got to go as well. And I just think that for me, they've got to be on that same wavelength for it to work.
Yeah. And I can't, okay, so say they both go up top, right? We lose that Rodgers position, don't we? Where they're in the sort of like, they're not centre forward. They're not quite a 10. They're in that middle. So you've lost that. Now, Watkins or Duran ain't going to drop back and link that play and ball carry and pick up the ball. So you've instantly lost that. Now, Rodgers could go out on the left and cut inside a bit, and then you've got your Bailey on the right. But I feel like you've lost that central position where we've been so dangerous this season. So you've sort of got to get them to one of them to drop. Now, could Watkins sort of like move into the left-hand channel, leave Rodgers there? So Rodgers is sort of covering where Watkins, move into the left channel and sort of cover where a Ramsey may be. But then you're taking that striker role off him. Yeah, there's a lot to work out, and it might not happen. You know, Emery's only said he's working on it. He's not promised us that the two of them are going to play together. He's working on it, and if it doesn't work, he won't try it. Well, he'll be a choice out of one or the other, and then manage the minutes the way they've been managing the minutes. But I feel like Duran now is ready to learn, and he's ready to accept Emery's instructions. Whereas, as you said, like last season, you felt like maybe if he wanted Watkins and Duran to work, he might, arsing around in training, not taking it serious. But it feels like you say, that switch has happened, and for me, I really liked him. I liked him last season when he's just coming on and slide tackling halfway across the pitch. He's like bums off seat. He's electric. He's got that bouncing muscle about him, and he's bouncing around. He's springing. The energy and the energy of his game just comes out in the crowd as well. It just bounces off every stand, and there's a big uplift when he's playing. And there's hardly any footballers his age producing what he's producing, and his goal record at the minute is sensational, and he's getting a lot of praise. But for now, he's got to focus, and he's got to keep bringing that performance. He's got to keep bringing the energy. He's got to keep bringing the goals, and that's his challenge now, isn't it? You put yourself up there, your name's in lights where he wants it to be. He's getting a lot of attention, but you've got to continually back it up, and that's his next challenge, which I'm very looking forward to watching.
Love it. Right, you got Maatsen then. So thoughts on Maatsen, because it's not quite happened yet. I'm not saying not quite happened, because we've got an episode that's coming out later on, probably this weekend, and I'm not going to spoil it, but Maatsen's contributions are very high. I think that they're the contributions that you were talking about earlier. It feels like it's one that's going to grow, but I think we've already touched on, because of how good Luca Dean's done, this is what we want. We want players that have got a Villa shirt on that don't want to give it to someone else. So they've got to get that shirt off them. So thoughts on Maatsen?
Yes, delighted. Obviously, when we signed him, he'd just come from playing in the Champions League final, runner-up. So he's come with a lot of Champions League experience, and he made the Champions League Team of the Year, didn't he? So obviously a lot of excitement around him. He didn't really have a pre-season because he was in the Holland squad, so didn't really get that time with Emery. And like we say, with Tielemans, it's a bit of a slow burner to start off with, introducing him into game time, that then. His contributions attacking-wise when he's been on are very high. I won't spoil your episode or what you're going to go into it, but they are very high, and this is over like a short period of minutes. But his arrival, again, sparked further competition, and Luca Dean, for me, is one of the players of the season so far. I thought he was absolutely tremendous on Sunday against Man United, and he's so reliable. He's so embedded into the Emery system and what Emery expects and what his teammates need, and he's playing great football. And there's always been a lot of talk about Luca Dean. Oh no, we need to sell him. He's on too much money. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's too old. Get Maatsen in, but. Man, that's his shirt, and he's not giving it up. He's not giving it up without a fight, and he's fighting hard. And to be honest, Luke, there's probably Martinez, Torres, Tielemans at the minute, Rodgers, and Luca Dean probably undroppable at the minute. Their performance level this season has been immense. But Maatsen, lot of attributes that I like, a lot of pace, a lot of attacking intent. He's lively, isn't he? I'm really looking forward to seeing him develop into this side, and he will. He will. He's only young, isn't he? What, 22? He's got years potentially at this football club, and the way we like to play, the way we advance on that left, it's perfect for him, isn't it? It's perfect for him. So again, big ceiling for him. So where can I nestle him at? I think. I'm torn between B and C. I think I'll go B, because what I've actually seen him do, what we've seen him do in the Champions League, what we've seen him contribute when he's had the opportunity this season, and his potential to grow. So, we'll stick him in at B.
Right. I'd agree with B. Now I got Philogene, and if me and you, we've spoke about Philogene in our WhatsApp group, and I'll probably sound record. We both were a bit not sure on this actual transfer. If you'd have asked me after Ipswich, I'd have said 100% backs up what I've been thinking. But he had the week of his life, and that week of his life has showed me what he is capable of and why he's here at Aston Villa. Because the mindset and application for the Bayern Munich game was eye-opening of how good and disciplined he was against, world-class opposition. He's not. He was playing left. He was playing right, and he's up against Sane. He's up against Alphonso Davies. He's up against Laimer on the other side. He's up against Kimmich dropping into midfield, and he was playing central. He's not just stuck out wide. His defensive work and his bravery on the ball was a performance that now I am that hyped about him. I think he could be whatever he wants to be, because not only that, I saw him getting on the ball, looking up, driving forward, and he backed it up against Man United, because there was aspects against Man United as well, which were very, very good. My concern was that we'd got rid of Diaby, and he was Bailey's sort of player that was going to push Bailey and whatever. And I just wasn't sure whether he'd got it. But last week really made me realise that, you know what, I think this kid has got something, and there's a reason why Emery re-signed him. So my mindset has now changed. I'm fully on board with Jaden Philogene Bidace. And yeah, I think he's got a lot of learning to do. He needs to stay fit, because he's had a little niggle, he's played. He's had a little niggle, he's played. He's missed games. And I think he just now needs a run of games where he's consistently playing. And it feels to me a bit of like a little Martinelli project we've got. And Emery brought through Martinelli. And I think, could he be as good? Possibly. But I think he's got a lot of work to do. And I'll put him in C, because I still had those little reservations. And you can't say 2 games can change your mind completely. But yeah, I'm liking what I saw last week. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
I thought he had a coming-of-age pre-season, two pre-seasons ago. And I thought he was set to join the squad. And I think you put him in your predicted lineup for the Newcastle game, didn't you? He'd had that good a pre-season and been involved. And he went to Hull. And I kind of thought, that's probably, that might be the end of the days. We've sold him. But he went to a good environment. He wanted to play. He got to play. He proved himself more than capable at that level. Everton was going in for him. Ipswich were coming in for him. And then I was kind of like, I knew we had the buyback on him, but I was kind of surprised we activated it. Because I thought, has he really blown the Championship away where you're pining for him back? And I weren't quite. And I still had, like you, reservations about him this season, like his fitness-wise, and there was a chance to play at the start of the season, wasn't there? And he weren't fit, and he weren't in the squad. And it's like, mate, we need you. This is your opportunity to get in. But like you say, mind changing, isn't it? That Bayern performance was like so mature, and it was intelligent play as well. You can't just like run around like a headless chicken trying to cut balls out and recover balls. And there's got to be a game intelligence about you. There's got to be a wit about playing at that level and reading games and knowing situations and knowing where to be and backing up your teammates. And he was everywhere. And like you say, look, he was out on the right, then he got pulled to the left. When Bailey come on, Bailey went off, get back on the right. And you are swapping against world-class players, like you said. And he's adapting in-game to these different profiles of players that he was up against. And again, United, to to do that on the Tuesday, Wednesday against Bayern, and then to do it again against Manchester United in front of another full house, big game, a couple of days later, and back it up and nearly get a winner. Like, you've got to go hats off to him. But I'm with you, Luke. He's got to stay fit. He's got to get past these niggly little injuries and get a run of games. And like you say, Emery, like we heard, didn't we, that he was thinking about Philogene every day, thinking he made a mistake of letting him go, and he got him back, and now he'll go to work on him, won't he?
Yes, he will. Right, we've got two more, so I'm going to put them both in C. I don't think it's the last we've seen of these two. I don't think it's necessarily PSR jobs. They'll move on, and then we won't. I think Ealing Jr. I'm more so thinking he's probably got a bit of a future at Villa for his age. And Baron Chair, I think, he looked tidy in pre-season, and we can't offer them game time, so he's moved them on. Interestingly, Douglas Luiz can't get in the Juventus team, and the press are there sort of like really hammering that transfer now and putting a bit of pressure on Douglas Luiz. So, yeah, I think it's one of them where these two, it's quite difficult to talk about because we don't really know what's going to happen with them. But Ealing Jr. is scoring goals for Bologna, so he's doing well there. So do you want to add anything on those two?
Yeah, we can only really judge them off of pre-season. They were both involved in pre-season. The numbers were down because of the players that participated in Copa America and Euro 2024. But we did get a good look at them, and Baronetcha, his ball collection, his distribution, his ball protection and his scanning of the game. I was impressed. I was impressed with Baronetcha, and like it was late in the window, wasn't it, when he left for Valencia? So yeah, there's a player there. And Ealing Jr. as well. I think he's still quite raw. The left side where we got Ramsey, I think he's quite a bit off that level yet. But he's going away. He's playing like top level Italian football, isn't he? He's playing in the Champions League, so he's getting a good experience again there. So yeah, I don't feel that it's the end for him. You could never say it's the end with Emery. Look at when he brought like Bertrand Traore back. For example,
oh God,
he goes smashing goals in for at Leicester and the one against Forest. So there's I don't think players ever leave Emery's mind. I think they're always in his mind, and these two will be being monitored. There's big scouting infrastructures and there's scouting managers and stuff like that, and we're very much keeping our eye on these two. So yeah, who knows?
Definitely. Well, that's it then, guys. We've done our Emery transfers. I think we've been pretty fair here. I think they're pretty much bang on as well, to be fair. I mean, I imagine some in the comments maybe screaming at the phone, iPad, TV, laptops, computers, going, "What have you done putting him there?" But no, I think we've done pretty well. And like I say, from A to C, pretty good players in there. So no one's really letting the side down, apart from Diaby down there. But there we go. But yeah, I think we've done well there, mate.
Yeah, decent. As you look at them A's there, like what we paid for them. We could probably double our money, really, and the potential in these signings to grow as well. The players in B and C. We don't make bad signings anymore, do we? We do not make bad signings, and they're all thought through. And if they're potential or coming first team straight away or just a PSR deal, they're all good deals, aren't they, mate? So yeah, I'm very happy with our transfer strategy.
Yeah, me too. Right, so I'll tag the Tim Vickery episode onto the end of this. We've got one more episode coming out before we're back for the match preview against Fulham. So international break, we're keeping it ticking over for you. So cheers, Ryan. Up the Villa.
Class, mate. Up the Villa.